The home sales in January 2023 are the lowest we've seen since 2013. So let's take a look at the data now. Let's not panic because there's some positive signs out there. The sales are slow, but prices are holding mostly steady. But let's look at the data. We're looking at the data directly from the Albuquerque Multiple Listing Service. This is all single-family, detached, and attached homes. In this case, we're looking at our sold. We've also got what's for sale, and we'll go through that here in a minute. And that's the whole Albuquerque area. It's the four-county area. So right now we're looking at closed sales, and this is the one that really jumps out, is 565 homes, at least at this point. It is the 3rd of February right now. There may be a few more that trickle in here in the next few days, but at this point we're at 565 closed sales for January of 2023. That is the fewest. We have to go back to 2013. I pulled up the 10-year chart here so we could actually see it. And the number of closed sales have jumped down quite a bit. Now let's put this in perspective. If let's look at pending sales, because that can kind of show you what happened here. Somewhere really May, June, July is when the interest rates really started to spike up. If you purchased, if you closed in April, May, you're probably sub 4%. A lot of people were sub 4%, or right around 4% at that time. What happened was interest rates really ran out. It did scare a lot of people out of the market and price people out of the market as well. And so starting in July, August, September, October, and then November, you can see the pendings decreased. In November in particular, we saw interest rates spike up over 7%, which again pushed quite a few folks out of the market. However, coming now here in January, we did see an uptick in the number of pending sales, 892 in the Albuquerque area. It's not a off-the-chart strong number, but it is a positive sign, a green shoot, if you will, for future activity. Speaking of future activity, let's also look at the number of showings per property. Not that one, actually. This one shows per listing. So this is the average number of showings that a property on the market gets. It did jump up again in January. Again, another somewhat positive sign of future activity in our market. So let's go over back to the for sale, because we didn't look at this yet, did we? I looked at it earlier, but yeah, homes for sale. So this is still kind of the big story. Last year at this time, we were at an all-time low number of homes that are actually active for sale on the market in Albuquerque. We are up over that. If we look here, this is the change from the same month last year. We're up 27% or almost 28% from last year. However, we're still down. If we go back 3 years pre-pandemic to, where is it? 2020. There it is. January 2020. 1,916 homes on the market. That's 50% less than that time. And the thing that's interesting about that, I remember commenting on this at the beginning of 2020, end of 2019, that we were going to have a very strong 2020. And of course, we know what happened, changed everything. And we had this, less people putting their homes on the market through the pandemic, as well as a surge in home buyers, which really drove the number of homes for sale in the market way down, all-time lows. Again, we hit that last year, and we've pulled back, but now it's starting to do this kind of normal seasonal trend where we see less homes all the way through till the end of February, maybe into March, and then we'll see an increase again if we follow the normal seasonal trends. All right, pricing. Actually, you know what? Let's look at this, because this is very telling. This is number of homes coming on the market. But we're going to look at this a little bit differently. We're going to look at this as a 12-month rolling. So what that means is, annualized, how many homes are being listed for sale. Part of the reason that we really haven't seen a surge in more homes on the market is this, that just people aren't listing their homes as much as they used to. They're staying in their homes longer. There's a whole conversation out there in the housing econ world that I follow, is a lot of these people are rate locked. If you've got a 3.5%, 4% mortgage, and you're thinking, well, it's time to sell, our home is appreciated a lot. But then they start looking, and we've seen this anecdotally here on the team, where people, say, hey, I want to sell. And then they start looking at what they can buy, what homes cost, and what the mortgage rates are, and they start looking at their actual, cost to own. There's a lot of people that are just kind of locked in and pretty happy. So we're not seeing as many people turning over and selling their homes as often as we did in the past. So I think this is pretty telling of where we are, and I expect this to continue through the year. So what that means, if you're a home buyer, you got to be out there watching. You got to be, get with us, get a realtor that can help you, bird dog, keep an eye on what's coming on the market. So, when it hits the market that it's, if it's the one, you're ready to jump. So many times we see people, finally see the home they've been looking on our website or some websites, and they see a home come on the market. That's the one I finally want. But it's the first home they look at, and ends up there's 10 offers on it, and they just aren't ready because it was the first home they look at. So start, thinking about that. You want to get the ball rolling earlier. And that's also true for home sellers. So we do have, like I said, low number of homes on the market. Generally, it starts heating up in the spring, especially as soon as school gets out. So if you're thinking of putting your home on the market, you want to start planning for it now here in February and hit that spring selling season. I think we're going to have a strong one. Again, that is what I see in the data, and it does seem to be setting up for that right now. Okay, prices. Let's talk about prices. So last year, we're looking at median price. So this is median sale price. This time last year, I think we were at 301. Yeah, 301 was the median sale price in January of last year. This year, we're at 305. So just, like a 1% more. But you can see what happened from January of last year. We had this big run up, this big spike up, and then home prices did settle back in as those higher interest rates kicked in. Now, don't feel bad for these people that bought back in April and May of last year, because they're probably locked in at a 4 or maybe even a sub 4% mortgage rate versus the 6 and 6.5 and 7 that maybe are in here. So just put it all in perspective. If we look at price per square foot, which is the one I like better because it takes out some of the variables. Again, we had this huge run up in the spring last year, peaked out, and we've had this pullback anywhere from 1 to 5%. It depends on how you measure it, but there's definitely been a pullback, maybe 3 to 5%, something like that. The question is going to be, what's going to happen with the year over year? Are we going to bottom out here again and start going up? That's my expectation. So we'll have to check back and see how I did. But my expectation is we're going to bottom out on prices here. And you know what? Let me clean up this chart so we can see it better. Okay, we're just looking at 3 years instead of that big long 10-year chart. So 3-year chart, you can see again the peak. We've pulled back. I do expect this to turn and start going back up, meaning I do think home prices are going to pull back up. The question is, are we going to have the same year-over-year gains? It's going to be tough to move from where we are today to get back up to those May numbers, but we'll see. Sorry, getting kind of wonky there. I think that's all I have for now. If you want to know anything about what's going on in the market, reach out to me. It's Tego Venturi with the Venturi Realty Group of Keller Williams Realty. I'm at 505-448-8888. Follow us on Facebook and follow us on YouTube. Probably watching this on YouTube. So yeah, hit subscribe. We appreciate it. It just kind of helps get the message out. We're really just trying to educate people on the market and the housing market, because there is a lot of misinformation, and more than that, here locally in Albuquerque, we get a lot of national stories about the housing market that doesn't really apply to us. So I really want to bring this down to the local level so you know what's going on. Thanks for watching. Take care.